Jim, that was an interesting thing. Molina did not like the fact that Bard went up and in on him. I mean, really wild. Twice. And so Yachty swung at the next pitch, and it's a shame. He kind of lost his grip on the bat. Just kind of flew right at the pitcher's mound. Yeah, it's a shame. Maybe he probably needs to get a little stickum or something.
Yeah, a little bit of grip on that bat. So
yeah, I don't think that was intentional or anything like that.
It's amazing. It went straight up the middle, right through the pitch where the pitching rubber was.
I thought we might get a little. Yachty could have been trying to bait, frankly, Bard into hitting him or something, and that's not a bad play there. The Cardinals lose. He actually, for a guy that was just wild in this inning, throwing the ball all over the place, he made a great pitch, called strike 3 to Arenado. So the Cardinals half-game lead now over the Brewers, and you know what? You've got to put it aside. I already kind of vented my frustration earlier, this before they made their comeback attempt, and I appreciate the comeback attempt that they didn't just roll over and play dead. But I repeat, you don't. After laying down Monday night and then yesterday, as Nolan Arenado said, they had to come out with more hunger, more energy. They did. They score 5 on the first. They win the game 9-5, and the 5 was misleading because they were in total control. But then how do you follow that up? You follow it up by coming out and falling behind 8-2. And I know that the relief pitching was bad. I get it. Hudson actually did okay. But you cannot go in that ballpark, and after what you did to that pitching staff the night before, and Germán Marquez came into this game with an ERA over 5, you cannot go in there and, let me make sure to get my facts correct, and score 2 runs in the first 7 innings of that game. You can't do that. It's Coors Field, man. It's Coors Field.
Look, we talk about, it's tough to pitch there. It is. Guess what? Your offense is supposed to score there.
Right.
More, we always make, the pitching's rough. It may be. But your offense, especially this offense, should score a boatload of runs there. And they didn't score enough.
Things I like about this game, even though they lost it, Lars Nootbaar on the leadoff spot, let's not mess with a good thing, okay? I mean, 1 for 3 with 2 walks today. He was on base 3 times. That's such a great start. This guy walks a lot. He's a line drive hitter. He's been really fantastic since around July 9th. Let's not go back to the Walking Dead in that leadoff spot. When you have a live wire guy, it looks like he can handle this, okay? Let's not worry about hurting people's feelings. Let's not do the Mike Matheny managing, okay? The object is to try to win the game, and especially this weekend, you're going up against the team. It's you and them. It's you and the Brewers. No one else matters. No other team matters, because for the Cardinals or the Brewers to get into the playoffs, they're going to have to win the division. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia is better than them. San Diego will be better than them. We know Atlanta's better than them, and we don't have to talk about, the Mets and the Dodgers. The Cardinals or the Brewers, there's one way in. Unless one of these teams collapses. Philadelphia's been amazing.
They're really good. You're right.
Unless one of these teams collapses that are potential wild cards, there's one way in. There's one gate open, and you got to win the division title. So let's not do we gave this guy day off. I put him back in there because he's rested. Your best leadoff hitter on the team, and he showed it today, is Lars Nootbaar. And it's one. Now people will say, "Well, look, you're overreacting again because it's only been one game." I'm not overreacting. I said on the show a million times. I noted it even before the game started. This guy's got an on-base percentage. It's going to be higher now. This guy, Nootbaar's had an on-base percentage, .427 going into today's game since July the 9th, with a big fat batting average too, and a good slugging percentage. So he gives you pretty much everything you want there. He walks a lot. He works the count. He hits line drives. He's got some power, some danger. Do your team a favor and keep this man in the leadoff hole.
Absolutely true.
And it's not like we're saying bench Edman or bench Carlson. We're not saying that at all. In fact, both of these guys are better hitters. I've talked about this ad nauseum, although not recently. Carlson and Edman are much better hitters when they don't bat leadoff. So why are you trying to force this when it looks like you have an alternative now? Right?
Yeah, I'm there with you. Tomorrow night's lineup will be an interesting watch. It's going to be a left-handed Lauer.
Right.
And the two guys that batted at the top of the leadoff today, I know they're both left-handed hitters, Bernie, but I would let them go. Let them see what they can do. And I'm talking about, you mentioned Nootbaar, and the other guy was Gorman today, was pretty good.
He was.
Oh,
yeah, I think he had 3 hits, right? Home run.
Home run. He got a hit there in the 9th. He also had a walk today. So
Yeah.
2 for 4, a walk, 2 runs scored. Yeah, I know sometimes we overplay the lefty matchup or the righty matchup.
Yeah,
sometimes,
I agree.
not all the time, but but in this case, let these guys go at it another day. They deserve that extra opportunity.
And I just hang with me here because I got this. I was looking this up and I was really curious. Nootbaar, once he got settled in and knew that they weren't going to, do something stupid by sending him back down to Memphis, and the only way he was going to get any continuity and consistency was to actually play up here on a semi or regular basis. So since hold on one second. Since early July, when he started to really get into this zone that he is in, I'm talking about Lars Nootbaar. He's got, and this does not count today because I don't know if he had any left-handed at bats against lefties today. I know the starters are right-handed, but anyway, since the beginning of July, Nootbaar's got 11% walk rate when he faces left-handers. That's really good. And his on-base percentage is .333, and it's a slugging percentage of .467. He's got an 800 OPS to show for this. So once he started playing regularly early in July, he hits right-handers and he hits left-handers. There's no thing you look at. There's nothing you look at where you say, "Oh man, you can't play him against left-handed." Oh yeah, you just can't. It just wouldn't even be fair to him. No. He does well against left-handed pitching. So I just wanted to get that on the record, So, but I was one thing that I liked about the game today. Listen, I'm not a jerk either. I hated the way Dakota Hudson gave up 2 runs, but what the heck? He's your 5th starter, and I went into this game expecting a disaster. And he did walk 4, so I'm going to hold back and say, oh, man, he was great. But I will say this. At least he fought it off pretty well. I don't even know. See, this is what's bad about this guy, because even if he kind of hangs tough, which he did today, you're still looking at a game where he gave up 4 hits and 4 walks in 5 innings and 2 runs. Now, he did strike out 6. So there was some good stuff in there to take away, but I'm still not sold. And by the way, I think Jake Woodford looked really good today. Inning and 2/3, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. And here we go again, though. They've wasted this guy all year for the most part. And I don't know what their problem is with him, but you had 2 relief pitchers who could not find home plate. And they took a 2-2 game. I'm talking about Hicks and Cabrera. And they made it an 8-2 game. And they bring Woodford in too late because, oh, no, we can't have Jake Woodford pitch here. Oh, no, we can't trust him. We can trust Hudson, who will be walking everybody. We can trust Hicks. He's good for 3 or 4 walks. Oh, and we know we can trust Cabrera because his head's locked on straight, right?
Yeah.
No, we can't use. Yeah. Oh, we can't use Jake. Are you guys crazy? We can't put Woodford in this situation. Woodford was the best pitcher the Cardinals had today. Inning and 2/3, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts.
A guy who can't strike batters out too, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Right. So what a shame. What a shame they had an asset that they just simply would not use. And even today, they let the game get away. Anything other than bring Jake Woodford in, right?
That's why he was there. He was there for this reason, to pitch behind Dakota Ed.
The quirks that Ali Marmol and Mike Maddox have about certain pitching things, they're very quirky and very eccentric, and it's actually kind of mysterious. They give reasons. Well, he's got to have a better slider. Okay. Apparently he was doing that in Memphis because he pitched very well. And, oh, by the way, remind everyone again, all the guy does is get outs. Why do you care how he gets the outs? So, but they just, it's like, no, we can't have that. Oh, you can have Verhagen. You can have Nick Whitgren all that time. You can have Dakota Hudson out there walking everybody, right? You can have T.J. McFarland. Oh, no, we can't take him off the roster. You got a perfectly fine pitcher, Aaron Brooks. You got a perfectly fine pitcher down there in Memphis, and you've wasted him there most of the year. What a damn shame.
It is rough. A couple texts. This will be fun because voice to text sometimes comes out differently.
I got you.
I'll read it as it's delivered, but you'll get it.
It's cool.
Large nude bar to me is John Jay.
That's awesome. Yeah, oh, that's good. Thank you for reading that. He, he could be, but I actually think he's got more upside because I think there's more power. And even last year, man, he had a high walk rate. And I think like if he can play if he can play up to his potential, like keep this up, I think he can be better. And that's not a diss at all on John Jay, who was a guy that maybe didn't have the best numbers all the time, but you just always felt good about him in there against right-handed pitchers, especially.
Played a good. He played a good center field for them. Another text says, "Oh, here Hicks has a career 5 walks per 9 innings. That's pretty brutal too.
It's awful." He's one of the more, and I don't have a list. But if people want to jump in, they can, because I like these kind of things, and I should do them more often. When I look, and by the way, it's 855-282-8255, 855-282-8255. In my opinion, and it's only about a half of an opinion because I haven't thought out the rest of it. That's where you all come in, and Jim Heuer. Jordan Hicks is one of the most overrated pitchers I have seen during my time in St. Louis, and that takes in a lot of years. I don't care that he throws 103. I don't care. Way too many walks, injuries. I mean, I can go right down the list, and yet there's still a lot of people, actually in the Cardinals organization, like, oh, man, this guy. Whoo, did you see that? Yeah. Yeah, I saw that 104-mile-an-hour fastball. Yeah, okay. But did you all see the walks?
Yes.
You're going to ask me if I saw that pitch and how vicious it was? Yeah, I saw it. It's great. But we going to talk about the walks? We going to talk about the straight fastballs?
Yes, the ones that get hit. You see the 100-mile-an-hour hit ones that get hit? Yeah.
Who are some of the other overrated Cardinals pitchers of recent times? You could say Jack Flaherty because he only got it done 1 year.
Right now, yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think Dakota Hudson's there because now some people say, well, listen, I didn't have expectations. I think a lot of people had expectations for him. And he certainly should be better than he is, man. A guy throws hard. I don't know, but who are some other overrated Cardinals relievers?
Wow. The Hudson thing, just real quick, he was probably expected to be like maybe your number 3 starter when Jack was out.
Yeah.
And he's not. You're lucky to consider him a 5 right now. So, yeah.
Right. And I said overrated Cardinals relievers. I just meant pitchers.
Pitchers, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to, off the top of my, I think because of, he had some really good seasons, but when I look at the whole body of work, Carlos Martinez should have been better than he was.
He had 3 really good years. I mean, really good years, and then it all kind of went to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually more than 3. I'm talking about 3 as a starter.
Yeah, 3 as a starter. He was a good reliever. But
yeah, and then the injuries were a factor in it. But look, man, he didn't hold it together, and that's on him.
Yeah, I was expecting more out of him. Texter says, oh my goodness, here's one from the past. Jimmy Jurnell.
Yeah, well,
My
yeah.
goodness. Great name from the past. I like that.
I think it was more of the Cardinals didn't have much in terms of prospects, and so they were trying to cover their backsides.
Yeah.
By kind of promoting him as like, oh man, this kid, I tell you what, he's got great stuff. And so dopes like me were, talking about Jimmy Jurnell. Yeah, that's true, but it was because it was basically dishonest marketing by the Cardinals. Jimmy Jurnell, it's a good. He pitched 9 innings in the big leagues for the Cardinals.
Is that all? I want to say, if I remember right.
No, I take that back. Okay. 13 innings.
Oh, 13. If I remember right, his first appearance was with the Braves, and the first batter he faced was a home run. I want to think. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, that's a great name from the past. Another name on the text line, the first Chris Carpenter.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Yes. Absolutely. Again, that was another guy that they drafted, I think, in the first round, and they wanted to promote him. I'll tell you another one along these lines, because these are good ones. Manny Ibar.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I remember having many conversations. This guy's going to be the next leader of the pitching staff. He looked so good, and he just never panned out.
I'll tell a story out of school.
Okay.
Like I was writing and talking about how, the Cardinals were kind of short on pitchers, and, it was one of those situations. It was kind of a bad time for that. And I'm like, I got in touch with Jeff Luhnow, and I said, look, man, all you guys do is talk about Manny Ibar, okay? And I think I know what you're doing. I think you're trying to pump up the tires because you want to trade him. But I notice you're not pitching him. So you're not really pitching him in the big leagues, but yet you talk about him as like, oh, man, this guy, wow. You're marketing for trades, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, and I said, no, he said, he's not that good. Off the record.
Yeah, you figured it out. He's not that good.
Yeah. So I tell you what, Walter Jocketty and Jeff Luhnow, they may not have gotten along, which they didn't. They were both really good at that. Brett Wallace, he's not a pitcher, but he was another one.
Oh, yeah.
They marketed these guys who were like marginal prospects, right?
Yep.
They marketed them so well that they basically conned other teams into thinking they were better than they were, which is really kind of stupid because all the other teams could have figured out what they were. But, Luhnow was really good at it, and Walter was too. He really was. It's funny to go back and think of those things.
Jose Jimenez just got sent into the text line.
Yeah, that's true. Well, after the no-hitter especially.
Yep.
He wasn't bad. But yeah, I think more was expected. So in that respect, he was overrated, right?
Yeah, agreed. So, yeah, those are a couple of the names. Well, this one doesn't Texter says Esteban Yan. He really wasn't a Cardinal.
He was never rated either.
No, he was picked up off the waiver wire.
I got one.
Okay.
And I'm guilty of being part of the media crew that overrated him. When he came up, and he came up in 1993 under Joe Torre, and he was 22 years old. And let me do this before I give you the name.
Okay.
Okay, he came up in 1993 under Joe Torre. His first major league start, 6 innings, 1 earned run. And then he had a couple bad starts, but then he had another really good start, and he had about, I'm going to go down to here. So in his first 8 major league starts, he had a 2.86 ERA, right?
Uh-huh.
And dopes like me were writing about how good he can be, and they've really found something in this guy. The farm system, finally produced the guy and all the. Alan Watson.
Yep. That didn't work. Yep, that did not work.
He was really good as a rookie for a while, and then after those 8 starts, those first 8 starts, I mean, it really kind of got ugly. like he was the rest of the season that year's ERA was 7.
Whew. Oh my gosh.
7. And then it was more of the same the next year, and I think the next year after that. But look, he looked like a guy that had a chance to be really good. And we were all going nuts because the Cardinals weren't very good. And they kept giving Joe Torre all these, bad pitchers, for the most part. And, I remember Joe Torre being pretty excited about Watson. I think part of it's because he was kind of a smart aleck New Yorker,
Okay, yeah.
But they couldn't. No, he never panned out.
No, he did not. That's a good call on that one. So, Bud Smith was just sent in.
Bud Smith, that was one of the worst no-hitters maybe in Major League Baseball history. That's why I don't get excited about no-hitters. Because seriously, I don't. Because it's like, well, are we talking a Sandy Koufax no-hitter? Are we talking about a Justin Verlander? I don't even know if he's had one. What kind of no-hitter are we talking about? The dominance? Hitters don't have a chance? Or you're walking people and hitters are hitting line drives. They're hitting rockets right at the third baseman or whatever. I'm not impressed if it's that kind of no-hitter. I'm really not. So I think that was that kind of no-hitter. And I was excited watching it. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, it's always cool.
I thought it was cool,
Yeah.
Young guy like that. But it really wasn't like he went into Arizona and just or San Diego, wherever he was, San Diego.
Yeah.
It's not like he went in there and just overwhelmed these guys, Bud Smith would have had a chance, but once again, marketing worked. It worked in a huge way. And La Russa started him in the 2001, I think it was the 2001, or maybe it was the next year, in the NLDS against Arizona. And he actually pitched fine. And they were able to flip him. I mean, they got him in that Scott Rowland. They got Scott Rowland in that trade.
Yep.
And he was kind of like the headliner. So it must have been 2001 when Bud Smith pitched in the NLDS, because obviously that trade for Rowland was made in 2002 during the season. So they were able to market Bud Smith. They had teams convinced he's really good, and he really wasn't. But he also, listen, man, I'm sympathetic because he did hurt his shoulder, and once that shoulder went, especially in those days, the in terms of fixing shoulders, man, a lot more tougher than it is now.
Yes. Here's a good one. World Series hero, but Anthony Reyes.
One of the great surprise performances in the history of the franchise in a big game, right?
Yes. But after that, there was nothing.
You know what? The reason why they didn't use him, that was another thing we were always talking about. Well, why don't they bring him up? And why don't they use him? They're talking about, they're signing all these guys like Kip Wells and all these, Big Sidney Ponson.
I forgot about that experiment.
They're doing all this kind of stuff. And then it's like, well, they got a guy down in Memphis who throws hard and strikes people out. Why don't they? And Dave Duncan would always tell me, say, look, I know he throws hard, but if he can't come up here and pitch high in the zone. They're going to kill him. There's no way he'll succeed. And the thing of it is, Dave Duncan was actually right about that. And he kept trying to get him to not necessarily throw that sinker for ground ball outs, but just realize, man, you can't just muscle your fastball by these guys up in the zone. In other words, son, you got a pretty good fastball, but it ain't as good as you think it is. And ultimately, they were right about that. But for one night, the opener of the 2006 World Series, he was fantastic. He had the game of his life, and he beat, even though Justin Verlander was a rookie, he still outpitched Justin Verlander.
Yeah, he did. That was amazing that night. There's no doubt. I have another one from the text line.
But he had a 5.38 ERA as a Cardinal.
Oh, it was not good.
Yeah.
Texter says, Jason Motte only had a good year and a half, and without Berkman, we'd all remember the Hamilton home run.
Well, yeah, but that happens in baseball. I can't hold one home run against them by a really great hitter at that time. And as far as the rest of it, he was, he got hurt. He never got over it.
Yeah. I'll give him more credit for this, though. He was a converted catcher. So from that standpoint, I give him a lot more credit for being what he was rather than a guy who just faded off. But
I know this, and this is why I just can't co-sign on this idea that, he was awful and, if it wasn't for this and, he would have never did this. I want you all to go back, and you got to retrace it. It would take some work. I can't do it for you, especially now. I don't have time. They did not have a closer late during the 2011 season. They did not have a closer. They were in very tough stretch that way because it's like, well, who's going to close? And remember, they made the playoffs on the final night of the season. And one of the reasons why they made the playoffs is because La Russa installed the young Jason Motte as his closer very late in the 2011 season. And he had 9 saves, and he pitched really well. They do not make the playoffs without him. So if you want to talk about whether they were lucky because he gave up a home run and blah, 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 and then, Lance Berkman saved them, blah, 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 blah. You want to do that? Okay. They're not in the playoffs without Jason Motte in 2011. So I'm going to defend him because selective memories don't work very well for me. I remember what happened in these situations. And the other thing is, after that, he tore up his arm, and that was it. He was 2012, by the way. He had 42 saves. He was great. But then he also pitched so much, the arm went, and so he was never the same.
Good point.
I like Jason Motte. He was good.
I do too.